North Korea is sending more troops to the Ukraine war, and videos of their soldiers training have surfaced in Russia. Reuters reports that North Korean missile units are already deployed in western Russia. According to the report, the North Korean missile units have the capability to operate 120 ballistic missiles and 6 launchers to strike Ukraine. Ukrainian Defense Intelligence announced that North Korea's missile unit, with about 90 personnel, will be deployed under Russia's 112th Missile Brigade in western Voronezh. It seems that the missile unit has probably arrived as an advance party. Ukrainian government intelligence authorities are warning that up to 30,000 additional troops may be dispatched. The total amount and deployment method will be decided at high-level talks between North Korea and Russia in September. If the North Korean military actually engages in live fire, they will be operating the KN-23 and KN-24 missiles made by North Korea within the Russian military's target acquisition and fire control system. Previously, North Korea was only supplying missiles to the Russian military, but now they are deploying operational units that directly attack Ukraine into the war. Here's the latest on North Korean military deployment. Troops from the first deployment remain in Kursk. Of 14,000 sent, about 9,500 are in combat. There are already around 7,000 casualties. Normally, a 20 to 30% loss forces a retreat, but over 70% of North Korean troops have been wiped out. This time, the second group of North Korean troops will be stationed in Voronezh. The North Korean military is training for deployment in Russia, and a missile unit is reportedly stationed in the Voronezh region. We need to focus on why North Korea sent a missile unit first, as the Ukrainian military's main weakness is ballistic missiles. Currently, the Ukrainian military has run out of all its air defense missiles, so Ukraine's greatest vulnerability is considered to be ballistic missiles. But just the increase in the number of ballistic missiles that Ukraine has to respond to inevitably puts even more pressure on Ukraine. President Zelensky of Ukraine announced on social media that Western countries have supplied only 1/3 as many interceptor missiles and defense systems this year as last year. One of the reasons for this is the war in the Middle East. Because of the war in the Middle East, Patriot missiles have been consumed at a very rapid rate. This has reduced the global stockpile of air defense missiles. As a result, the United States began running low on air defense missiles for itself, and its supply to Ukraine also decreased. Russia exploited the situation and launched 650 missiles between January and July this year. This scale is even greater than the number of Patriot missiles that Lockheed Martin in the United States will supply worldwide in the entire year of 2025. President Donald Trump promised a production license for the Patriot missile system and full technical support so Ukraine can build its own air defense network. However, not long after, President Trump reversed his previous stance and unilaterally withdrew his promise. He broke his promise to support Ukraine, citing a shortage of missile stockpiles in the United States itself. President Trump has recently shown an extremely lukewarm and indifferent attitude toward his previous policy of helping Ukraine produce its own Patriot interceptor missiles, showing little enthusiasm for providing that support. Ukraine faces major challenges in building an independent interceptor missile production base and starting mass production. This is because advanced air defense missiles require complex technology transfers, securing parts supply chains, and strict quality verification procedures to be manufactured directly in a third country, making it difficult to achieve results in a short period of time. The first dedicated Patriot missile production facility in Europe by Western nations to support Ukraine won't start operating until at least September due to process support and construction issues. As it takes a considerable amount of time for production facilities to actually become operational, Ukraine is inevitably facing an even more serious situation for the time being, with gaps in its air defense network and a depletion of interceptor missiles, while having to fend off the immediate missile attacks from Russia and North Korea. Some people dismiss the deployed North Korean troops as mere expendables or cannon fodder, complacently assessing that their tactical and strategic capabilities will not improve significantly. However, major military think tanks and experts worldwide view this perspective as a dangerous misconception and are highly concerned about North Korea's rapidly improving military capabilities. Just looking at the missile operation units deployed now already gives us a glimpse of the future. The Ukrainian military reports that the margin of error for North Korean ballistic missiles used by Russia has recently dropped from several kilometers to about 50 to 100 meters. The significance is clear. Not only has North Korea significantly improved the guidance and navigation performance of its missiles based on real combat data, but specialized operators dispatched directly to the field have also had the opportunity to exponentially enhance their missile launch capabilities and the overall combat effectiveness of the launch units through live firing, target acquisition, and data correction processes. These changes directly and dangerously threaten security on the Korean peninsula. North Korea's KN-23 and KN-24 missiles are tactical weapons designed to precisely target airports, ports, command posts, ammo and fuel storage, and air defense radar networks in South Korea during a contingency. If the North Korean military gains advanced targeting, optimized fire commands, and faster launch procedures from combat experience, the time from identifying a target to launching will be greatly reduced. In addition, their ability to quickly move mobile launchers away from the launch site to avoid enemy counterattacks after firing, as well as their speed in reloading ammunition and conducting consecutive launches, will be significantly improved. This can't be learned through training alone. Real combat experience is needed. More worrying is their skill with combined strike tactics, now central to modern warfare. As we've seen in recent Middle Eastern wars and the war in Ukraine, combining drones and missiles in attacks can maximize damage. By deploying large numbers of low-cost surveillance and suicide drones in advance, they overload the enemy's air defense radars and interceptor missiles. Then, taking advantage of that gap, they concentrate ballistic missile strikes on key military facilities. This unique Russian disruption and strike tactic can now be fully adopted by the North Korean military. Of course, we must hope that war never breaks out. If war breaks out, North Korea could use these tactics. For South Korea, which is less prepared for drone warfare, this is a serious threat. Even with a 10% success rate, sending 1,000 drones means 100 targets are hit. With 100 drones, 10 targets. If those are nuclear plants, government offices, or military bases, the damage could be severe. Applying this tactic to the Korean peninsula would greatly increase the South Korean military's defensive and operational challenges. There have been ongoing rumors in Russia about a possible new mobilization order this fall. These moves are clear indicators of the limitations in manpower supply and the severe casualties that the Russian military is experiencing on the ground. As the recruitment of contract soldiers, which offered high rewards, has reached its limit and the number of killed and wounded has surged, Russia is now facing a situation where it must forcibly mobilize its own citizens. However, for President Putin of Russia, declaring a large-scale mobilization carries significant political risks. This is because, during the first mobilization in 2022, hundreds of thousands of young people fled abroad and nationwide protests broke out. In the midst of the double challenge of having to fill the shortage of troops at the front while preventing internal unrest that could threaten regime stability, Putin's chosen solution is to deploy an additional 30,000 North Korean soldiers. They use North Korean soldiers up front to reduce political backlash from sending their own citizens to fight and to gain time. Possible further mobilization and formal North Korean troop deployment are closely tied to Russia's major offensive expected this fall. Even if they issue a mobilization order and conscript their own new recruits, at least several months of training and organization are essential before deploying them into actual combat. To fill this critical time gap, they are deploying North Korean troops and missile operation units, which already have established command systems and can be sent directly into combat to the front lines first. Russia uses North Korean troops as a buffer to hold the front and carry out the initial strikes, while using internal mobilization to reinforce its own forces and allow for rear maintenance. Russia's internal mobilization and North Korea's large troop deployment complement each other, creating close military cooperation to intensify their offensive against Ukraine. If this happens, it will be very difficult for Ukraine. Up until now, Ukraine has been able to gain the upper hand by effectively using drones and unmanned systems to inflict more damage on the Russian military. Russia has found Ukraine's biggest weakness and even brought North Korea into the situation, which has made things very complicated. With Ukraine out of air defense missiles, the future may look very bleak. However, air defense missiles will not be fully replenished immediately. The Western world currently can't do this either.